यार, why does everyone keep talking about the future? इतना डरते क्यों है लोग फ्यूचर से? टीचर ने बोला मैथ्स नहीं पढ़ोगे तो फ्यूचर कैसे बनाओगे? फ्रेंड्स कहते हैं हाइट शॉट मतलब नो फ्यूचर. फ्यूचर हाइट देख के आता है क्या? एनीवे, आई डिसाइडेड आई राइट विथ माई लेफ्ट बट आई विल बी अ राइट हैंडेड बॅट्समन. सबने बोला लेफ्टी रहे, फ्यूचर मत बिगाड. पण मला हाच स्टान्स आवडतो. ग्रिप तो सही रहा, स्ट्रेट ड्राइव भी सही लगा, and I will get better at it. I will practice and practice and practice. I am not afraid of the future. Don't fear the future. Prepare for it. With a range of life insurance plans from AGS Federal Life Insurance.
Hello and welcome to this very special edition with Gautam Gambhir. How has it been to work with Mr. Goenka, Gautam? Because my understanding with Mr. Goenka over the years, having been fairly close to him, having spoken to him many times, is he's good to work with in terms of being a hands-on owner. But there is a lot of intellectual freedom for somebody like you. And in your case, I've seen the amount of trust. How has it been so far in trying to shape a franchise?
Absolutely brilliant, fascinating. All I can say is thank you very much to the chairman, not because I'm part of the franchise and I've known him for a very long time. Even when probably he did not have the franchise, even when he had Pune as a franchise. So our relationship goes a long way. But probably this is our first working relationship together, this closely. We've known each other for a long time, but this was probably the closest we've come as in a working relationship. Gave me all the freedom I wanted, obviously very hands-on as well, gave his own suggestions as well. There were multiple options which we offered him when he arrived in Bangalore. There were 2 or 3 options which we had put in front of him. And then ultimately, he was the one who decided whichever he was comfortable with. We had 3 or 4 options. And for me, I think it was very difficult for me actually to choose those 3 or 4 options. If you would have told me to choose one of those 3 or 4 options, I would have been happy with all the 4. But then it was the chairman who decided that he was more comfortable probably with the one which we went with. And gave us all the freedom, gave me all the freedom, gave all of us all the freedom, listened to us, gave his inputs, eventually kept the cricketing decisions to someone like me or an Andy Fla, and tell us to take that call on the cricketing matters with the help of Rahul as well. So all of us were on the same page. And most importantly, when you've got a captain and a coach and a mentor and eventually the chairman on the same page, what better than that, to be honest. But more importantly, the freedom with which we were allowed to work was absolutely fantastic.
7,000 crores, people will talk about it. Costliest franchise the moment there is an adverse decision. You will have to insulate your players from that. Does that weigh in your mind? Costliest franchise going into the IPL?
I think media will talk more than anyone else. And it really doesn't matter to me. And I'm sure it will not matter to the chairman as well. See, ultimately, if you tell me that this is the most expensive franchise which it is, and you tell me that we got to win every time, it is humanly not possible. Or we will not fail during the competition, that is also not possible. And we will fail throughout the competition, that is also not possible. So we'll play cricket, good cricket, we'll play bad cricket, there'll be good decisions, there'll be bad decisions. That is what human beings are bound to do. So we'll accept that and move on. But all I can talk to you right now at the moment is that there'll be no shortage of giving up more than 100%. And that is what we expect from the players to do. And I'm sure players will do that as well. And that is the kind of quality individuals we've selected. But yes, there is always pressure. There is always pressure, not only on us, other franchises as well. So we'll absorb that pressure, we'll enjoy that pressure, and we'll try and thrive under that pressure.
You've won 2 IPLs before, Gautam. Very few have. I mean, only 5 franchises so far have won IPLs after 14 years. 3 franchises haven't won. Clearly, you've been there, done that in that sense. So, if what is it about winning an IPL? Is it about soaking in the pressure? Is there a formula? Is it about what? Because, in your case, from what I have observed, aggressive captaincy, hands-on captaincy, putting pressure, impulsive, instinctive calls if need be, taking the hard ones, not going by reputation. These are some of the things I have seen Gautam Gambhir do. What are your thoughts on leadership that you think KL Rahul will have to do to go on and win, or maybe even make the playoffs? Because that is far more important for a start.
Be a gambler. If you become a gambler, if you be a gambler, you'll win more. You can't sit on the bench thinking that what if I take that risk, what will happen? Go take that risk. We'll back KL to the hill. That is our job. Unless and until you will not take risk, you will never get to know how much rewards are there for waiting. You can't keep thinking that what if I do that, then what will happen? A good leader is a good gambler. And how much you want to gamble, when you want to gamble, what are the pros and cons, but you will still have to gamble. You can't keep thinking that if I don't gamble, I'll be in a safe place. Come out of your comfort zone, do that, and we will support that. For example, it's the hypothetical thing. There has been so many times when I was captaining, I don't want to use that word right now because I'm done and dusted with my captaincy. I've used Sunil Narine in the 20th over as well. If, for example, tomorrow KL Rahul is thinking of giving the 20th over to Ravi Bishnoi, we'll back that decision because he could go for 36. He could get you 3 wickets as well. So I want KL Rahul to do that. I want him to be someone who takes risks rather than thinking on the back seat and probably just letting things happen. And if he decides to take risks, I'll be the first one to back him till the hilt, whatever the results would be. And I'm sure the moment he starts taking that risk, he'll be fine and we'll be fine as well.
I know you don't want to talk about your captaincy, but one question. 2011 Saurav Ganguly, Kolkata, Gautam Gambhir comes. Hand on heart, did you feel scared? Kolkata, Saurav's territory, man. I mean, coming and Eden Gardens booing you, no crowds for the first 2 games. Weren't you scared? Weren't you feeling, what have I sort of got myself into? Gautam Gambhir, go back to Delhi.
I don't get scared. I never get scared. Generally, I never get scared. I don't get scared. I don't know whether it's my nature, and I don't want to boost. I don't want to talk too much about myself, too highly about myself. I just don't get scared. Probably it's my nature. Yes, I do get nervous. I did get nervous on the auction table as well. I did get nervous every time I've walked onto the cricket field with the bat in my hand, but I've never got scared. And that's probably how I've been brought up. Those are my experiences as well. Yes, nervousness is something. Getting scared is something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so yes, I've nervous. Probably, honestly, I'm not kidding. I was far more nervous. I've said that. I was far more nervous on the auction table than I have ever.
Why were you far more nervous in the auction table? And at which point in time, if I can push you a little bit, in that bidding process was when Gautam Gambhir was feeling more nervous? When was that? If you can give us a couple of examples.
Start of the auction. Probably just before the start of the auction, because you had certain plans and you never know. Probably there are times I've seen it in the auction as well. I've had that experience where you've literally have 3 or 4 options and you could not get any of those options. And then you realize that what next can you do? And the only nervousness was that I hope we do not panic. I hope I do not panic. I hope I don't make a desperate decision on someone just because we have not got certain players what we were targeting. And those things have happened in the past as well. So that was my only nervousness. I was never scared. It was not that I was very clear in my thoughts. But the only issue was that because this was my big first auction as a mentor as well. So the only thing that if I would have got panicked or if I would have got whatever desperate for a certain player, it would have spread on the auction table for all of us. Because the chairman was consulting me throughout. I'm not saying that he was dependent on me. Ultimately, it was his call. But the more I was relaxed, the more I could make him relax as well. And never at any stage for 2 days, I thought that we made a desperate call. Yes, people might say on Avesh Khan, but Avesh Khan was someone which we were looking at, not only for a present situation, but for someone who is a long-term prospect as well for us. And he's going to be a great bowler if he keeps working hard. He's going to be someone who's going to probably play for a very long period of time. That is probably the only little desperation, probably call which we took, but I still don't believe that. But apart from that, look at Quinton de Kock, Jason Holder. We had much higher budget for both of them. And we could manage to save a lot of money. And that's the reason why we went for some other players really hard who we wanted. So for me, I think that was a nervousness.
I wish you all the very best. You know that. Have a great season of the IPL, you, the chairman, and your team.